now, so this is kind of a weird camera angle, but I'm wearing my Valak shirt. Got this last year on some website, I'm not sure what. Me and Toby are on the way to go see The Nun. It is raining outside, pretty bad, and I'll show you guys what it looks like inside the theater, because they do have a lot of old horror movie posters. It's amazing. It's Alamo Drafthouse. I don't know if any of you guys have those where you live, but I know that they are in other states. We do have a bunch of them here in Texas. Alright guys, I will see you in a bit. Bye! You're a dork.
I'll send you those so you can put them in your video.
Oh no. It's something called the Killer Nun.
I know.
Sister Gertrude, it is a nun's vocation to suffer. Life has always been
Some weird music. That's what it is. Sure.
I agree, Sister.
Their orphanage is in constant danger of vandalism and burglary. In recent months, several of the children have been assaulted, and 2 of the nuns raped. Unwilling to give up after some 80 years of service to the community, the sisters have turned to the Old Testament for a solution. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
Sorry. I can't get that song out of my head now.
Like the oriental monks of the ancient Shaolin monastery, these modern sisters have embraced the martial arts.
We just ordered our drinks, so we're watching this really weird thing that they always do at Alamo Drafthouse. It's a bunch of weird music and just weird vintage movies.
The coolest part.
The
This
coolest
is the
part.
coolest part to me. All this cool old stuff. That's what makes this place cool right here.
See you in a bit. So, what did I think of The Nun? First off, let me say it's most certainly not my favorite film in the Conjuring universe slash franchise. But I went to the movie with very low expectations, like I told you guys. I had kind of seen early on that they weren't doing, you know, big previews of it, you know, way before it came out. They weren't really doing that. And to me, that's always a sign that it's probably not going to be as good as people expect it to be. And, you know, I think this is the 5th installment in the Conjuring series, and I just recently found out that the Conjuring franchise is the #1 rated R in the horror genre. I think that's right. I might be wrong. Don't come for me if I have that fact wrong. I heard that somewhere. And you know, going back into it, I went in there with very low expectations. You know, James Wan was not the director of this one like he has been the other ones, and he usually does like a really good job of being unsettling and terrifying with all the films that he's ever directed. But there were a lot of jump scares in this, and I know that they're necessary, but that's pretty much all that they were in this movie, was jump scares. And I know some people might like that, but I don't, because it's just startling. It's just startling. That's all it is I'm not like scared, I'm just startled. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't create anxiety within me. It's just, they relied a lot on that. I mean, I'm not, and the thing is, I would give this movie maybe, like, if you love the Conjuring series or the franchise, then I would definitely recommend going to see this in the theater, because if you love the Conjuring, any of the films, you'll enjoy it, I think. You know, when the first Annabelle came out, I liked it, I enjoyed it, I was entertained. Like I'm saying, I'm entertained by The Nun. When it does come out on Blu-ray, DVD, and all that good stuff, I'll get it, because I collect that franchise. I love it. It's paranormal. You know, it's kind of cool because, for me, anyway, I don't like comic books. I don't like Avengers and superhero stuff. I think the only superhero-ish type character that I've ever really been into has been Batman, but he's, you know, the Dark Knight. It's a darker storyline than Superman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman. I don't like Deadpool. I mean, I'm not gonna get into all that, but it's just not my forte. So I don't like comic books, but I think it's kind of cool how they have a universe, and they, you know, introduce all these people and characters, and then they all wind up, you know, connecting to one another. I think that's cool, and, you know, we haven't really had that a lot in the horror franchise, so that is something that I really do appreciate about the Conjuring films. And not only that, but you could see them without seeing another one. Like, you could go and see The Nun right now, having not seen Annabelle or the other 2 Conjuring films, and it's not gonna, it's kind of loosely related to it. There's not so many clues that you're not gonna understand what's going on. Like, I mean, there's some films where you'd have to see them in chronological order to know what's going on, or you're just gonna be completely lost. So that's a cool thing about this. So if you just want to go see it because it looks like it's a horror movie that you might enjoy in the theater, on the big screen, then you don't have to have seen Annabelle Creation, Conjuring 2, and The Conjuring. You don't have to have seen those. They do all tie in together, and they typically tie them all in together towards the very end of the movie. They always intro the film with something that you've already seen. They always do that. I've noticed that classically with these films. And then they always end the film, you know, at least they did this one, The Nun, with the obvious tie-in to the first Conjuring, which still stands as my favorite one in that whole franchise. I love The Conjuring. I saw that one twice in the theater. I was genuinely creeped out by it. I loved it. I was unsettled by it, and probably because it's based on a true story, and obviously the whole Ed and Lorraine Warren thing, and I love Amityville and all that stuff. I know I'll link my review of The Conjuring 2 down below, so you can check that out and see what I thought about that. I did mention in the last video that the director of this one, I think his name is Corin Hardy. Might be wrong, I'm not sure exactly, and I don't feel like looking it up. But he did have his The only paranormal experience he's ever had was, you know, ironically, during the filming of The Nun. They did film this in Romania, and the movie does take place in Romania in 1952, which actually, in the Conjuring in order, this would be the first movie that you would watch. Then you'd watch Annabelle Creation, then you'd watch Annabelle, then you'd watch The Conjuring, and then you'd watch Conjuring 2. So they're all out of order. It's like prequel after prequel after prequel, ish type thing. Because I think The Conjuring 2 actually happened after The Conjuring. So anyway, my point was that, so the director said he had a paranormal experience. I guess he was on set filming something, and there were some, like, soldiers. They were dressed like soldiers, or they were soldiers. Romanian soldiers, and I think they were kind of curious what was going on the set, and he thought that they were part of, you know, the team or whatever, and I guess he saw them, and then he had to, he turned around, or something happened, basically. I don't know verbatim what happened, but they weren't there all of a sudden, and he even watched the playback on the cameras, and there was nobody there. So that was kind of interesting, to be visited by some Romanian ghost soldiers on set of The Nun. Another interesting thing about this is that, you know, obviously this has a lot to do with Catholicism, with nuns and all that, and the movie is about Thaisa Farmiga, who plays a soon-to-be nun. She's like a nun in training, and a priest that are sent to, from the Vatican to this church, nunnery, I'm not really, they're told to go there and kind of see what's going on, because a nun committed suicide in the very beginning. Happens in the first 10 minutes of the film. And that actually, there's a scene, I'm not going to give spoilers, but there's a scene that goes with that actually is not a jump scare, but it really was eerie and creeped me out, and that's the kind of scare that I like. So, so they go to this church, and upon going there, they discover a lot of things about, you know, the nuns, and that there's a demon nun there. And that's where they find out information about Valak. And Valak is actually is based on real demon mythology / lore, whatever you want to call it, but he's not a nun. He is a child, a baby child, whatever, a cherub, like Cupid, on top of a two-headed dragon, and that's usually what his form is. He's like a president of hell. And you can find this in some Solomon chapter, I think, in the Bible, but that's what he is based on. So he's not a nun, but I love the idea of the nun, and obviously the nun was like my favorite character in The Conjuring 2. I couldn't stand the crooked man. I just thought it was kind of ridiculous, but supposedly they're doing a spin-off of that too, but I haven't heard anything this year about it. I heard about it last year, so we'll see about that. If that comes to light. But did I enjoy the film? I went to see it. I was entertained by it. I wasn't going in there with high expectations. I usually do like to see horror films in the theater because there's nothing like seeing it on the big screen. It's never going to be as loud or as dark as that is, and that's what I like to do. So I was entertained by it. I enjoyed myself. The movie's very gothic and very dark, so it has like a really good scene setting, whatever, and I loved how they tied it into The Conjuring, the very first Conjuring. So I overall enjoyed it. I would give it a 6 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. Some people aren't gonna like it, some people don't like it, some people left in the middle of it, not at the theater that I was in, but I heard that they did, or that it was not very good, or they were disappointed, and I was like, well, yeah, don't get your hopes up so high, because I knew that was gonna happen. That's why if I go in with low expectations and I think it's just not going to be very good, and then, you know, there's nothing to do but surprise me by being better than I thought, and that's exactly what it was. It was better than I thought it would be. You know, there's some creepy scenes, there's some eerie scenes, And like I said earlier, I love the way they tied it in to the first Conjuring film. So let me know if you guys have seen The Nun, you know, and if you have, what you thought about it, if you liked it or didn't like it, you know, no judgments here. But that is my open opinion and my review without giving you spoilers at all, because I just couldn't live with myself if I give you spoilers. But anyway, as always, happy haunting. Stay scared. Have a very creepy night. Bye.